Okay, just picking up here. I added this link. This is the woman who worked at Uber, Susan J. Fowler. This is a link to her website. She has come out with a book called Whistleblower. It's gotten very, very well reviewed. And you guys, if you can afford it, you might want to see if you can get hold of it for how she navigated a very, very difficult time. And you know what? I think the world has changed and it has gotten better, but there still is a fair amount of this kind of nonsense out there for people, especially women, in the work environment. Now, stick it out and get promoted. I can tell you, again, from having interviewed lots of young people, different companies I've worked at, the ones who stick it out for a few years or 5 years or 7 or 6 years at their first company and get promoted once or maybe twice, those people are impressive because it says that they've succeeded. They've done well enough at their introductory job, at their first job or second job to get moved up. The organization thought well of them. That is a badge of success or work success, and try to do it if you can. If it needs to get done, be the kind of person who just gets it done. Oh, I tried. Oh, it just does not cut it. So there's a lot here. There are certain people I've worked with over the years who, if you tell them this has to be done by such and such a time, it just gets done. And then there are other people who say, well, I sent them an email and, they didn't answer. So what kind of person are you going to be in your career? And I'm just going to put a story in here. American Girl? Dolls? What's that thing called? I think it's American Girl. I'm going to look that up on my phone. I was working for the company. It was an Israeli company that did signs and signage, and they had, one of the products they had was a sign that could show 6 different faces just by rotating. It's a little hard to explain, and I'm probably not going to be good at it. By rotating different faces, it could show 6 different faces. And we showed it at American Girl. Yeah, there we go. We showed it at a signage exposition and this and that, and the creative person, the one who designed the stores for American Girl, liked it. And this was before the days of doing lots of videos and LEDs and LCDs and things like that for signage. And so they were building the New York store, and he wanted to have one of our signs in front of a new kind of doll that they were introducing. I think it was the Native American dolls, as a matter of fact. And our signs were being manufactured in China at the time. And they put in a special order for a special kind of sign that would synchronize with an audio track and then change display and have a different audio for each display as they showed different aspects of these Native American dolls. And I'm just going to say that we were supposed to have the sign up in the store for people walking through, before the store actually opened. And I trusted a person I'd worked with a long time. I brought him from a former company to his current company, and I asked him to be responsible for making sure that the sign got from China to New York on time to be installed and checked out appropriately and everything else. And it didn't make it on time. And I got the same sort of excuse. Well, they told me I try, okay, it just doesn't cut it. And I'm just going to say that when you have a project like that, and chances are when you're starting out in a company, you are going to get very hands-on project-y types of things. When you're managing an event, for those of you who are in event marketing or have done, jobs or projects or internships at event companies, everything has to be perfect. You can't screw up. Okay, there's just no excuse. The timing is the timing, and it has to be right. And so what smart people do is they'll get everyone involved, everyone who has a piece of the project, small, large, or whatever, in a meeting or on the phone at the same time, and you go over all the dates and all the things everybody has to do, and everyone's conscious of what everyone else has to do and what they have to do and what the timing is. Everyone has everyone else's contact information, and that's it. Okay, and then you're on top of it as it goes forward, and you check the status and this and that. So are you the kind of person who gets it done, or are you not? I have been in situations at companies when I have felt mistreated, and I can't tell you the times I've rehearsed, scripts in my head of going to the president of the company, telling him exactly what I thought of him and why it was so screwed up and how unfair it was and everything else, and then just said I quit and walk out the door, and these fantasies would consume too much of my day, and what a waste of time. And so you just don't burn bridges no matter what. You don't. And it's not worth it. You need to maintain positive relationships everywhere you work. You need to maintain positive relationships around you every way you can. And selfishly, those people could end up being important to you down the road. In fact, a guy who I rehearsed my resignation script probably 1 million times. A guy who ran Gannett Outdoor, where I worked for 10 years, the longest job duration I had in my whole career, is a friend of mine now. He became a mentor after Gannett. He hired me for things. He gave me consulting projects, and he's a friend. Okay, I went to his 80th birthday in Toronto. And he's a lovely guy. And don't burn bridges. It's not worth it. Here's another one. Don't be a fair weather friend. I don't know if you guys even know what that means. Well, basically it means don't be the kind of person who's, the best friend when your friend, the person you're friends with, is successful and can do things for you. Okay, and then you call or you ask them out to lunch or her out to lunch, and you're all so friendly, and you go out with your partners and have a social life with them. And then when they lose their job, they lose their power or their ability to help you, you don't give them the time of day. That's not the kind of person I hope that you want to be. So if you're a friend, business friend, whatever kind of friend, you're the friend. And it doesn't matter what they're going through. In fact, you want to be more supportive when they need your help. And here's another one I had bosses tell me many times over the years. I'd go into my boss's office when I was pretty junior in the agency business, like an assistant account executive on Duncan Hines Cake Mix for Procter & Gamble, and say, well, this is happening, that's happening, wow, how am I going to solve this? And the boss would usually say, a smart boss says, well, how do you think you should solve it? Don't come to the boss to try to solve everything. Solve things yourself. Make your boss aware of the issue so they're not blindsided, particularly if it's something really bad that could really be a problem on the business. Tell him, tell her, but have solutions. Okay, be the kind of person. That's how you get promoted. That's how the boss trusts you to go up a rank, because you're solving problems. You're not asking for help in solving problems. Okay, here's another one that's sort of a life thing that's important to me. And I hope you'll think about it. It will be to you too. Human beings are not defined by what they do for a living, by what they do to bring in dollars and to put a roof over their head, their family's head, and put food on the table and whatever else is needed. There are lots of ways to do that. So whether you're the CEO of a huge worldwide company, or whether you teach art in middle school in Manhattan, or whether you work or you work in a fast food restaurant, where McDonald's says, well, it's the best first job you ever have, but don't get me started on that one, because this is a separate thing. But my belief is that if you're offering someone a full-time job, you better give them a living wage, or else why are you in business? That a business has responsibility not just to its shareholders, not just to its customers, but to its employees, to provide a living wage for them and their families. But point being, whether you work at McDonald's, whether you're the elevator operator, whether you're the CEO of a big company, yes, we're all just so impressed by the people with the big jobs and the big money. And does he or she have money? Are they a big success? And this and that. In my eyes, anyone who is working for a living, no matter what his or her job is, who is living up to his or her responsibilities as a parent, as a spouse, as a whatever they are, and they're paying their bills and doing their best, that is a person who deserves every bit of respect. It doesn't matter the title of the job. They deserve respect. I call people Mr. and Miss and Sir and everything else, and I don't care who they are, what color their collar is. That's how I look at things, and I hope you guys will consider that as well. Okay, another piece of career advice. If you can help it, don't start out working at an ad agency or a consulting firm, or someone who just kibitzes and gives advice as to how a business should be run, or someone who just handles a small part of the business. If you can, get business experience where you have full P&L responsibility for a product. They used to call those jobs brand manager in bigger companies. You ran the Cheerios brand at General Mills. You ran the Pampers brand at Procter & Gamble. You did the planning, not just the advertising, not just the PR, not just the database marketing, but the product development, the packaging, distribution, the retail relationships, working with your own sales force, pricing, how are you going to improve the product down the road? Are you going to promote? How much cents off are you going to give versus last year in December? And you're running a business that makes money or loses money. And are you going to make more money or not? That is the best experience anyone who wants a business career can have. And the sooner you get it, the better. And even if you ultimately want to just work in some smaller area of the business, like social networking programs or something, having general business experience, P&L, profit and loss experience, is like gold, because those companies that hire you to do social marketing, if you know the whole picture, the whole iceberg, what's on top, what's on the bottom, you have immensely more value to them than someone who's very, very specialized. Think about that, please. The ancient definition of happiness is to make full use of your powers along lines of excellence. That was what JFK said, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. That means if you're lucky enough to be in a job or a role where you are making a difference in the world somehow or some way, and you are taxed, you are pushed to do things you didn't think you can do, that is for many people real happiness and real, I guess you could say, success. And then this is how you define success says a lot about you and the kind of life you will have. Is it money? Is it job? Is it title? what is it?